fractions.
The three forms of linear equations. All right. Form number one. It's the first form we learned. Y equals mx plus b. What is the name of that form? Whenever we have y equals, we call this form slope intercept. Okay. The big clue here, is the y equals. Okay? That's our big clue. When we see y equals, we're probably going to be in slope intercept form. And our method for graphing this is step one, plot the y-intercept, which is b in this equation. Step two, I have to answer this. Hola.
Soy Nate, de la Escuela de Santa Fe, de la Cristianza. Te estaba llamando porque Johnny está enfermo. Él necesita ir a la casa. Okay.
All right, pardon the interruption. Step two, after you plot the y-intercept, is you use the slope, which is, slope is rise over run, to find the next point. Plot the y-intercept, use the rise over run to find the next point. Okay, example. Y equals 1/2 x minus 2. Is this slope-intercept form?
Yes.
What gives it away?
Y equals.
Yeah, the y equals is a huge giveaway here. Okay? And then when we look over at this side, we have something x, something else. Okay, if I'm going to plot that, let me make sure this is showing up on the video. Yes, it is. If I'm going to plot this, step one, plot the y-intercept. What is my y-intercept here in this equation? Is it y? No, can't be it.
It's
variable.
-2.
Is it 1/2? No, it's -2. So we go down on the y-axis, -2. Step two, use the slope to find the next point. Okay, my slope is 1/2. So I'm going to go up how many and over how many? Up 1/2.
Up
Put a
1.
point there. And then let's do it again so we get a better line. That's slope-intercept form. Intercept, slope. Okay? Slope, intercept. Questions about slope-intercept form and how you use that to graph? No? I think this is the easiest one. For me, this is the easiest one. What is the x? What is the x value at this point right here? The y is -2. What's the x? x is 0. Right? So here, this point is 0, negative 2. Okay. Form number 2. Can I erase this stuff? Yeah. Form number 2. This one is ax plus by equals c. Anyone remember what that form is called of the line? This is called standard form. Big clue for this one, x and y on the same side. Okay? That's our big clue. That's how we know we have standard form. Method for graphing this. Step 1. And these two steps can be done in either order. Make x 0, make x equals 0, solve for y. Step 2, make y equals 0, solve for x. Step 3, plot both points. Can I erase this old example? So, new example. 3x minus 4y equals 12. Oops. I said 4y and I wrote 4x. 3x minus 4y equals 12. Yes?
A trick you can do is use a T-chart.
Yeah, so I like to use a T-chart to keep track of this. It's a great trick. Make sure this is all on there. Looks like it is. So the first step says make x 0. So if x is 0, then I rewrite my equation with x being 0. Right? That means 0, because 3 times 0 is still 0. Minus 4y equals 12. In other words, negative 4y equals 12. If I divide both sides by negative 4, then I see that y equals a positive divided by a negative is negative 3. So when x is 0, y is negative 3. Second step, make y 0. Okay? Now I'm going to rewrite this over here. 3x minus 0 equals 12. In other words, 3x equals 12. Divide both sides by 3. X equals 4. So when y was 0, x has to be 4. Now let's plot these points. The point 0, negative 3 is right here. 0, 1, 2, 3. The point 4, 0 is over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go up 0. So this is 0, negative 3. This is 4, 0. Connect those with a line. And that's it. So this is called finding the x and y intercepts. What is a y-intercept? What does that look like on the graph? This is the y-intercept on this graph. What does that mean? Have a y-intercept.
the slope.
Yeah. It's where y is. Yeah, you want like this, right? It's where the line. Yeah, they merge. It's where this y-axis and the line merge. A lot of times it's said like this. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So then what's the x-intercept? Here's the x-intercept on this graph. What is an x-intercept? It's where the it's where the x-axis meets the line. Nice. Well put. All right, questions on this form of graphing lines? Can I erase this? Form number 3. This is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x. This form is called point slope form. Big clue? Usually the big clue is the parentheses. Whenever we see parentheses, that's going to be point slope form. Method 1. We plot the point. And the point is x1 comma y1. Number 2, we use the slope. Slope is rise over run to find the next point. Okay? Let's do an example. Make sure you've got all this down in your notes. Example. I could have something like this. Y minus 2 equals 2/3 x plus 1. All right. Look carefully at this. What is the point? I'm not asking an existential question here. What is the point? Yeah.
1.
So a point is always going to have two values, right? x1 and it's always going to have an x and a y. So 1 can never.
Oh. Is it the negative 2?
It involves the negative, the minus 2, the 2. It also involves the 1. So remember, my point is x1, which is right here, y1, which is right here. Okay? So what's the x1 in this equation over here? Look at my form of my equation. And then look at this example. What is in the place of x1 there?
1.
Close. Is it 1? Positive 1?
It's negative 1.
Yeah, because in the form there's a minus here. So we know that it's going to be the opposite of how it looks in your equation. So my x coordinate is negative 1. What's my y coordinate?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Is it negative 2 or is it 2? Positive 2. Just like the x, this is always going to be the opposite of how it looks. So my point is negative 1, positive 2. So I'm going to go negative 1, positive 2, and put a point right there. That's the point, negative 1, 2. Now, if I were you guys, in my notes, I would write like something to myself. I would write, the point is always the opposite sign from the equation, or something like that. To help you remember, it's not 1, it's negative 1. It's not minus 2, it's positive 2. Okay? Writing these little notes to yourself in your notes will help you to remember these things when you study. Okay, step 2, use the slope to find the next point. What is my slope in this equation? What is my slope here? Yeah. Up 2 over 3. So I went up 2 over 3. Up 2 over 3. And then I connect those 3 points with a straight line. That's point slope form. Alright. So now we've got all 3 forms of the line. Let's do some examples that will help you guys. Can I erase this yet? Not yet. Okay. So, example 1. You're given this equation. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. How would you graph that? How would you graph that? First of all, tell me which form it's in. And how you know. Which form is this equation and how do you know that? Gives it away. Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. It's not standard. Slope intercept.
Yeah. How did you know that this was slope intercept
The
form?
Y.
The y equals is what gives it away. Okay. How do we graph something in slope intercept form? Start with a plus 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. That's my y-intercept. And then what do I do from there? Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And we could keep doing that forever. Right? And I would get a line that connects those points. Very good. That's it. That's all there is to that. All right. How about? Actually, let's go over here. If you're still writing that one, I don't erase it quick. Example 2. What if you have something that looks like this? Y minus 2 equals negative 1/2 x minus 2. Yeah.
That is the third form. The opposite of. I keep forgetting the names.
Did you write it down? Look in your notes.
It is point slope form.
Exactly. Point slope form. Point slope form. So what's our method on this one? First we graph the point, and we use the slope. What is the point here? What is the point in this equation? The slope is negative 1/2. The slope is always the number in front of the parentheses. Okay, the point is going to be these two things, right? Is it negative 2, negative 2?
No, it's up 2 over 2 because
It's
it's
2
the
comma
opposite.
2. The point here is 2 comma 2 because it's the opposite of what it looks like in this equation, right? Now I would recommend, if I give you a quiz or something over this, that you write out the point. Because let's say you know the point, but then for some reason you plot it wrong on your graph. I'll only only take off partial credit if you wrote out 2 comma 2 right there. Okay. And then if you plot it right, then you'll get full credit. 2 comma 2. So there's 2 comma 2. What is my slope for this example? -0.5. So I'm going to go from this point. Where am I going to go?
-1 over 2.
Yeah, down 1 over 2. We can do it again. Down 1 over 2. And that is point slope form. Alright, can I erase the first example? Example 3. So let's have something that looks like this. 2x minus y equals -6. What form is this one in, and how do you know? Yeah.
It's standard form
And how did you know?
because of the equals. No,
Okay. There's like where the equals is kind of gives it away. How did you know?
the x on y and x and y are on both sides.
X and y are
both
both on
sides.
the same side. That's another clue. All right. How are we going to graph this one? Yeah, make the x a 0. And let's do a t-chart to keep track of this. So if x is 0, that means this whole thing becomes 0. So we have minus y equals -6, right? In other words, negative y is -6. What would that make y?
-6.
So we need to divide both sides by -1.
Yeah.
So y would be -6 divided by -1, which is +6, as you said. And that goes in here. Okay. Next step. Next step. What do I do next?
You make y 0.
Now I make y 0. So if y is 0, then this whole thing is gone. I have 2x minus 0 equals -6. In other words, 2x equals -6. How do I solve that for x? Divide both sides by 2.
It's positive.
X is a negative divided by a positive, which is a
Positive.
negative divided by a positive is a negative. Right? If we're multiplying and dividing, if we have one negative, the answer will be negative. If we have 2 negatives, the answer will be positive. In this case, we have -3 for x. Now I have 2 points in my t-chart, so I can actually put those together and graph them. If x is 0 and y is 6, that would be the point right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If x is -3 and y is 0, that would be the point right here. I can connect those two with a line, and I have my graph. Right, example 4. Y equals -x plus 3. What form is that in?
Standard. I mean point slope. Slope point. Slope
This is
intercept.
called slope intercept form. How do we know this is slope intercept form?
Because the y equals.
Y equals. Okay, what's the first step to graphing this? What do I look at first? The plus 3. 1, 2, 3. And now I have to find my slope. That's my intercept. What is the slope in this equation? I don't see a number in front of x. So there's an invisible
1.
an invisible 1 over
Over 1.
exactly. So my slope is negative 1 over 1. Right? If it just says negative x, I can imagine a 1 there, and I can imagine it being over 1. Alright, where do I go from my initial point then? I go up or down? It's negative 1 over 1 is my slope.
Oh.
Down how many? And over how many? Down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Right? Down 1 over 1. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a really weird one. Example 5. Y equals 5. What? There's no x. There's no x in that. How do I make y equals 5 into a line? Yeah.
You go up 5 on the y-axis, then go across as if it's on the x-axis.
Yeah, I go up 5 on the y-axis, and then I just go across, parallel to the x-axis. Right? Here, y is always equal to 5. Right? What would this point right here be? This point. So I went 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this point is 3, 5. The y is 5. Alright? What about example 6? Y equals x. What? What form is that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is a slope-intercept form. It's just
Yeah.
y equals x plus 0.
Right, we can always add plus 0, right? That doesn't change anything. So where's my intercept on this graph?
At 0.
At 0.
Then you're going to go up 1 over 1.
Up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. Right? How did you know the slope was up 1 over 1? I
Because
don't see a 1 in there.
in front of the x, there's an invisible 1.
In front of the x, there's an invisible 1 over
1.
1. Alright, keeping up the theme of weird examples, what if you had this? Y equals 3x. Y equals 3x. What form is that? Slope-intercept form. But what's my intercept?
Plus 0.
Plus 0. If there's not a number there, I know that my intercept is 0. Remember, another way to think about this is if x is 0, what is y? Because that's going to give me the y-intercept. And if x is 0, then y is just 0. That's where my intercept is. Now what's my slope here?
Up 1 over 1. I mean, up 3 over 1.
Yeah, I can imagine the 3 over 1, and then I go up 3 over 1. up 3 over 1. And I have this really steep line that goes through 0, 0. Example 8. We'll just keep on going. X equals negative 2. X equals negative 2. There's no y there. Yeah.
You're gonna go negative 2 on the x-axis, then
Negative
go
2.
up and down parallel to the y-axis.
Good. So we go negative 2 on the x-axis, and then we go up and down parallel to the y-axis.
Just like we
Because on this line, x will always be negative 2. Everywhere on the line, x is negative 2. So that is the line, x equals negative 2. Very cool. All right. Let's go for 10 examples. I think we can do it. Example 9. Y minus 2 equals 4 times x plus. Okay. What form is this? Point slope form. Step 1, find your point. What's your point? Points look like this, right? Something, comma, something else. 4 is going to be our slope. We'll get there. I'm going to write this over here. Point. Our point is, yeah, it is going to be 2 and negative 1, but which one comes first in the point, the x or the y? X. What's my x? The negative 1. And then, what's the second part of the point? The 2. Wait, but this says positive 1. How come I wrote negative 1? It's always going to be the opposite, right? And then the y says y minus 2. How come I wrote a plus 2, a positive 2? Because that's the opposite of negative 2. Yeah. So the point is always the opposite. And now what's my slope? Right here. The slope is 4. If I wanted to make 4 into a fraction, how would I do that? 4 over 1. Alright, so I'm going to graph my point, negative 1, comma 2. That's negative 1, comma 2. That's the point, negative 1, comma 2. And then I'm going to go up 4 over 1. 2, 3, 4 over 1. And I have this steep line right there. Example 10, this is going to be the last example. Don't be too disappointed. Alright, negative x plus 3y equals 9. What form is this?
slope-intercept.
This is standard form. How do I know that this is standard form?
Because though x and y are on both sides.
X and y are on the same side. What method am I going to use to graph this? Yeah, I'm going to use a t-chart, but how am I going to use a t-chart? What am I going to do for standard form? I'm going to choose something for x. What should I choose for x? 0. So if x is 0, Then I have 3y equals 9. What is y? Divide both sides by 3. Y is 3. Okay, what next? What next? Now I make the y 0. So if y is 0, negative x equals 9. What is x? Divide both sides by negative 1. X equals negative 9. What do I do with that information? I can graph it now. How do I graph it? Where is this point? First line here. 0 and 3. Where's that point? Yeah, just up 3. And where is this point? Negative 9. So good, it's over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I count correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then just over 9. There's my line. So that was an example of standard. Alright guys, good work today. That was a long video.